Hello and welcome to this week's Devil in the Detail podcast. I'm Rob Paxson and I'm here talking all things Salford Red Devils. Join me in the show this week, as ever, we have Paul Parkin. How has your week been after the victory on Saturday, Parky?
Yeah, it's been good, mate. Really good. Yeah, we've had the sunshine, which is obviously very unusual over in this country at the moment. That's been nice. So I've been spending a bit of time in the sun, which is just topping up from Spain, which was nice. Got the Olympics on. That's keeping me busy, trying to keep up with what's going on. I'm not saying it's been badly run, but wow, it makes the RFL look competent at the moment. But yeah, no, it's been good. I mean, obviously Saturday was, a great day all round. I think obviously we'll discuss it in a bit, but from then, yeah, I've had a pretty decent week so far. It's early in the week yet, so it's someone to ruin it. But yeah, build up for this weekend, and I'm really excited for this one. Really excited. This will be the big one for me.
Yeah, badly run or being sabotaged. I'll let that hang in the air for you, for our conspiracy theorists out there. Obviously, last week you were at the Supporters Trust event where Gibbo came home. You hosted it. How did it go?
It was brilliant. It was a great night. Absolutely fantastic. Brilliant turnout as well, which you'd expect for someone like Gibbo. Martin Burkitt, Shane Hanson were there as well. But Gibbo, what a character. He's never changed. He's still the same guy. His stories were brilliant. He had people in stitches. It was great to see the turnout for him, and he loved it. He certainly partook in a couple of libations while he was there, and also he had a good drink with us. But it was a great night. I want to thank James Oskison for putting it together, really, and Dennis Riley and the guys at Dog and Partridge for entertaining it, putting it on, and all the organisation that goes into these kind of things. They don't just happen, believe it or not. I got the honour of being able to chat to him and ask him the questions that people might have wanted to know, but a lot of work went on behind the scenes to get him over, and get him over into Eccles for that night and everything else. But it was a great night. I mean, they had the highlights of his tries on the screen as well, all edited, and that was brilliant to see. Some great memories of him. Some of his lesser spectacular moments were on it as well, which was quite funny. But yeah, it was a great night, and like I say, I was just delighted with the turnout. I want to thank everyone who came and raised a couple of quid for the Supporters Trust as well.
Yeah, obviously great engagement in it between sort of fans and ex-players as well, kind of thing that we've cried out for, haven't we, for years. And now the Supporters Trust have managed to get that together, got the heritage numbers out as well, which is exciting. So, we can all get stronger from here, can't we?
I mean, they're doing a great job. They really are. And I think the players really appreciate the ex-players, because I think for a long time they felt not forgotten, but maybe, that's it, my career's over and so on. And you don't know what goes on in other people's lives. But people like Gibbo, Mike Burkitt, Shane Hanson, a lot more that were there on Saturday as well at the game, Adrian Hadley, people like that, Sean Brown, Andy Burgett, these players who I said on the night, I said, these are the guys that it didn't matter of the quality of the player at times. It was the fact that every time they put a shirt on, you knew they were gonna put it in for the team, 100%. They just wanted to be part of it, and it was a great team at the time. I remember a lot of the lads getting the Red Devil tattoo on them and things like that. I don't know how that goes on when you go to another club. I don't know how that goes down that well. Adrian Hadley moved not long afterwards. He went to Widnes, so and he got one. But there was a bond there at that time in that group of players that perhaps we haven't always seen at Salford. We've had spells where it seemed like players probably didn't care. These guys did. They were part of the community. And just a little sort of story going off that with Gibbo. On the Wednesday before the event, he'd been in touch, and he was asking about my mum. Obviously, he knew my mum from when he was over here. She's 83 now. And he said, I want to come and see her. So I said, all right, okay. Thinking, yeah, well, okay. And he phoned me, and he turned up in Swinton, and he said, right, let's go. We met him at my mum's, and he went in and spent an hour with her chatting. And I mean, wow. That's just the mark of the man and the kind of guy he is, and how integrated into Salford, and what he became part of what we did. And again, I said the other night, I said, if I ask people, certainly of my generation, maybe you're, I know you're about 30 years younger than me, aren't you? But, name me an ex-Salford player of that kind of era. It's either Gibbo or Tex. Every time, Gibbo or Tex. That's what they'll tell you. That's how I, and for me, these guys are my Watkins, Fieldings, Heskeths. I think that era was pre me. These were my heroes growing up, and it's great to see them still being brought back to the club and being part of the club again. And we need to reinforce that. And we need to make sure that they know that we won't forget them, and we just thank them for everything they did. So it was a great night for Gibbo. And then again, the lads on Saturday all meeting up, seeing them together again. It was like they'd never been apart. So yeah, it was a great night.
Yeah, it's strength in that, isn't there? That's what makes a rugby league club, isn't it?
Yeah.
The bond between them, the players, and us, the fans, and moments like that. That's that's what it's all about, isn't it? So well done, everyone involved.
Yeah.
Well done for you, Parker, host with the most. I'm being told as well. So it's good stuff. Good stuff. Plenty more to come from the Supporters Trust in the next few months. This podcast, Parker, I'll tell you what I did this week. I went to the gym for the first time since the pandemic. I went to the gym. So trying to get a little bit fitter. Doctor's back on my back again saying, Rob, you need to start doing a bit, which is fair enough. So trying to convert myself from a 20-minute impact prop to a 60-minute one.
Yeah, that's the first step, isn't it? Get into the game a bit more. And obviously it's always good to keep fit and everything and then get back to the gym. It's difficult for motivation sometimes, and if you've been at work all day, like yourself with the kids and everything else going on in life, sometimes it's hard. So I think that's half the battle, to drag yourself there. I think that deserves a bit of reward anyway. And hopefully, in a few months' time, you'll feel all the benefits. You'll see it, and it'll make you want to go more and more.
This is it. Took me inspiration from Paul Whiteside, who gets up at 5 o'clock in the morning to do his boxing exercise routine. When he used to go to the gym, pure gym, used to do it the other way around, used to go to the gym at 11 o'clock at night until like 12:30 at night. But going to bed then at like 2 in the morning, then waking up at 6 for work, didn't quite work out after a while. So if it can work for Paul Whiteside and his white collar boxing career, it can work for me.
Absolutely. It's funny you mentioned that today. Yesterday we were having a chat at home, and it was the last time you went to a gym, and I thought about it, and I honestly don't know. It's got to have been 20 years ago last time I was inside a gym. It's not a me thing, I'll be honest with you. I'd rather just go for a walk somewhere or something like that. But I must do something, even if it's just go swimming or something like that. Just get myself. I like to say I've made that many excuses in the past. I'm sure we all have why I can't go. And I do need to get fit because I'm avoiding doing things at the moment. When people are asking me to, you want to do? You got to get involved? I can't do that. It's terrifying of not being fit enough. So well done to you for getting back into it.
Yeah, and then all this extra energy that suddenly come into me, painted the fence in the back garden this afternoon, kind of like a lime green colour. Wasn't my first pick, but it's just easier. My life will be easier as long as the fence is a different colour.
Yeah, and as long as you've done as you're told, that's the main thing. But life is always easier. Let's be honest. It's always the best way. And also, I will say, it's all right at the moment while the sun's shining and everything like that. You wait till the middle of November or something like that when it's freezing cold and you think, I need to go to the gym. I probably won't bother, and I certainly won't be painting any fences. So it's tough. It'll get tougher, but get on it now, and then hopefully later in the year you'll be flying, and you never know, you might be back playing within
Can you imagine?
Season, who knows?
I've always said, like I said before many times in this podcast, if rugby league was like playing John Madden American football on the computer game, I would have been the best player in the world. Just couldn't take a hit. Didn't react very well, either cowering like a dog or my head would go. So I wasn't right, unfortunately. I'm better in this situation behind the microphone talking about it.
It's a silly sport, really, isn't it? When you think about it, the idea of it. But good on you, mate. Well done for getting back.
Yeah. So lots to go on this week. I'll look back at the games last weekend and this weekend. All the big news coming out of the club this week, and then we're going to preview weekend matches. So we'll start with the big games this week. So we'll start with last week's game at Parkhead. Huddersfield away went down to defeat 16 points to 8. Bit of a drab affair. Disappointing. Could have used it as a springboard to kick on, but Huddersfield, with Ian Watson on his way, used that momentum with a new coach bounce thing and took the 2 points.
Yeah, let me just find my list of good things that happened that night. Oh no, I didn't make one. It was just awful, mate. I'm gonna say something. You know, we back the lads every single week, and I don't fault them for effort or anything, but that was as bad as we've been all year. I know we lost heavily at Cass early in the season. They got their first win, but there were signs in that game. We made a few breaks. We did a few things. There were times we were in the lead twice. We got beat. Lee away, 5 or 6 forwards missing. Lee were coming back. They would have a load of players back in the team. They were on a bit of a roll. We got a thumping. I can accept it. The Huddersfield game, we looked so flat, so devoid of energy and ideas. And I know I agree with what Paul Rowleys said, that we basically run at full power every week, every single player, and it's going to break at some point. And I think the whole game, the Catalan game, the Huddersfield game, the signs were there that we were probably hitting a wall. We've done that hard work up to this point in the season. This is the really tough part. And I felt, I'll be honest, I was a little bit concerned. So I thought, how much more have we got to give? We can't keep asking these players to go to the well all the time and produce the kind of performances they've done all year. And I'm not having a go at the lads. That's the last thing I'm trying to do. I'm just saying the Huddersfield game was, I think, the pinnacle of that point where you go, can't do any more. We are out. We only had sort of 2 players missing with no injuries really. It wasn't we still had Timmy Lafayette and Sam Stone out. Other than that, there was a strong squad there. I think Huddersfield struggled to name a bench. They had that many injuries. Still had a decent team out, don't get me wrong, but a lot of their key players weren't there. And I mean, it was a dour game. Neither team deserved to win. If it could have finished 0-0, it'd have done everyone a favour. But fair play to Huddersfield. They kept battling away. I think there was 1 or 2 controversial decisions maybe in the game, which I don't think Paul Rowley, I think he alluded to the fact that there was a couple that were a bit strange. I think the Singleton sin bin in and the penalty where Connor took the 2 when their player failed to get back to his feet and he gave a penalty. I mean, things like that go against you. In a tight game, you can't afford them. But I don't think we made our own luck. So you get I think that night we got what we deserved. And it was a shame because all the hard work we've done for the last few weeks seemed to just fall apart on that night a little bit. And that was, like I say, it was a little bit worrying for me. But as I said when I left the ground that night, and I was saying to people, there's always next week. We can bounce back. We refresh. They sit down. They watch the video. Hopefully, and obviously we knew that we had a new signing coming in, and Lewis would have been back in the team because he missed with the HIA, and just a little bit to freshen us up. And who knows? And I definitely didn't lose that. I knew it was a bad performance and a bad night. They happen during the season. But yeah, I mean we got through it. It was out of the way, and it was time to move on.
Yeah, Paul Rowley said to Paul Whiteside in his interview with him after the Huddersfield game, you can listen to it a couple of pop-up podcasts ago, where he kind of likened it to the form and the mood that the squad was in towards the back end of the season, where like you said, they were mentally shot and they couldn't quite get out of that mind thought towards the back end of the season. And he kind of talked about how they're going to have to try and change it up. And it seems like they did manage to change it up, like you say, with fresh faces coming in this week. Beat Castleford 30 points to 22. Tries from Nenny McDonald, Ryan Briley, Ethan Ryan, Oliver Partington, and Chris Hankinson. 5 from 5 from Mark Sneed. And back to winning ways, Parker.
Well, I mean, we're talking chalk and cheese, aren't we, in performances? I mean, that energy all of a sudden back. We've got, getting Timmy Lafayette back in the team. What a bonus. I mean, he still probably should be 2 weeks away at least, I would have thought. He came in, he looked like he hadn't been away. Him and McDonald together in the centre. Just the difference them two can make alone in that team is incredible. I thought Nicarima came in, I thought he did. Considering, he probably only had 5 or 6 training sessions, if that were a team, linking up into a new style of play, new team, new country, new everything else. I thought he looked okay. I thought he certainly added something. He's got a good turn of pace. But they looked like there was a renewed energy in the team. We looked, I don't know. I thought as the game went on, I thought we looked fitter than Cass, stronger, faster. Overall, the performance was just, it was so. There were the little parts in the game you want to improve on. But again, I thought we looked threatening with the ball at times. like we have done throughout the season. And I think we left points on the ground. I think we could have been another 10, 20 points ahead. And I'm not being big-headed. I'm not boasting. That's how good I thought we were at times. Couple chalked out, Nene McDonald's and the forward pass to cross in the corner. A different day. 2 more tries before half time. You've killed them. It's game over. But I think we need to work on a couple of things in defence. Certainly that kicks in behind we kept shooting up out the line. Again, we've mentioned that in the past that we do that. And if Cass are noticing it, other teams will notice it as the season goes on. But overall, great performance. Great day. I think the conditions obviously helped as well because we love it in them conditions. We can throw the ball about with us. Nobody want to play us on that kind of day.
Yeah, and obviously, like you said, an important game after the last the 2 weeks before. Quite, not great performances, scratching about. Important that we got back to winning ways. Obviously, with Leeds on our tail. Obviously, we thought we started well. Dion Cross going over in the corner, forward pass given, but then Cass opened the scoring. Try from Gary kick to the corner, and he won the foot race 6-0. And at that point, I was thinking, oh, here we go.
Yeah, well, what I will say, I've watched it. The only bits I've seen back with it, Nene McDonald disallowed try and the cross disallowed try. I've not seen the game back at all. Like I said, been enjoying the sun. I think they're both very dubious. I'm going to say that to start with. I'm not sure about the forward pass. I don't know which pass it was that the referees deemed to be forward for us. But in reverse to the Cass try, the lead up to that, there were 2 forward passes. Now, I'm not blaming the ref. I'm not having a dig at the ref. I thought Kendall had a really good game the other day. And obviously, the video ref one isn't his fault. He's given a try. It's been overruled, which I know we'll talk about, but it just doesn't happen. But anyway, it did. But I think if you give Gary that kind of space down the outside, he will do you because he's pretty rapid. And we did it a couple of times, twice in the first half, I think once in the second half. We left it open on that side. And something we'll obviously look at this week. But yeah, they when they took the lead, I was a bit like, yeah, we could do without. We could have all the pressure. We should have been ahead. They'd gone down the other end and scored on basically their first attack, I think. And you're like, that might break our confidence because we're a little bit brittle at the moment. But, as we saw, we certainly bounced back.
Yeah, Paul Rowleys' team dust themselves off. They go again, hit back with a try from Nene McDonald. Good power and pace to burst the line and crash over, and we were level.
Yeah, well, I don't think you'd want too many other players in that position, would you? That sort of distance out from the line, running at speed at defence, because, I mean, he's terrifying. He's unbelievable. There's power of him. And obviously he's quick. He's played on the wing internationally. He's played on the wing at Leeds when he was there. And what a phenomenon he really is. Probably got to be one of the top signings of the season for any team. He's been unbelievable. He got that ball. I didn't think there was any doubt that anyone was going to stop him. He's just too big, too strong. And it was great to see him go because he's such a joy when he scores. His face, he just lights up. But yeah, we bounced back more or less straight away. And I thought, yeah, okay, we can have these now. They've had their chance. That's it. But again, it doesn't always prove like that being at Salford, does it?
No. Nene McDonald had a try disallowed. Went in the air with the fullback. Referee decided that Nene McDonald lost the ball in contact before he put the ball down. Video referee decided it was no try. We could go on about that all day, really, couldn't we, Parker? But we'll move on because it's all about what you think you see in the collision. Horn from Cass gets put in the bin shortly after as well. And then we take advantage with a try from Ryan Bradley from a scrum.
Yeah, sure, a good clean pair of heels, didn't he? Ryan going through the line. I think you put him on one-on-one with a lot of players. He'll burn them like that. He's not had that many opportunities to do it this year. I think he's watched a lot closer after the previous couple of seasons. They know what we play and the threat that we like to bring him into the line at that point. From a scrum like that, when there's space on the park, we need to utilise that a lot more. But I think the other thing is that when you've got players outside the scrum at that time, like McDonald, Laffey, and obviously Nicarima and people who have got pace, defences are now worried. Who's going to get this ball? Where's it going? Because it doesn't matter whose hands it getting. Even Ethan Ryan and obviously Dion Cross both got great pace. I mean, Ethan Ryan, I think, is a massively underrated player. I think he's superb. He's having a great season. But, so defences now are looking, going from the scrum at that position on the pitch. Who's getting this ball? Who am I worried about most? Well, you know, if McDonald or Lafayette get it, you're going to need 2 or 3 men to stop them because they'll bounce off you or they'll go through you. You take your eye off Ryan Briley, he's gone through a gap. You're not catching him. So it was, you know, a brilliant bit of play to create that doubt in players' minds. And I'm delighted for Ryan. He's had a tough time recently with injuries and even getting back into the team. You know, saw what Chris Hankinson was doing at fullback. He was superb. But yeah, it was good to see him getting back on it, and obviously traditional celebration and everything, seeing that back. So yeah, I think he's had a bit of abuse off Cass before and all of their fans, so I think that was quite nice.
Yeah, like I say, Rowley ball. We talked about how great it is how they can sort of make things happen. We've not seen much of it this year. We've had to amend our style, but like you say, when you've got Tim Malafai, Nenny McDonald, you've got power,
yeah,
and you've got pace, you've got brains. So it's gonna click eventually, and we are what 5th in the league now. So that's even before we've actually started, getting into, I don't know, 4th and 5th gear really. So we continue to sort of play, and when it does click eventually, hopefully playoff time, then hopefully that'll propel us into the promised land of a grand final. You never know. So half time comes. We lead 12-6. Second half, pressure on their line early. Don't score. Penalty, conceded. Try for Cass. Gary in the corner, and it's 12 apiece.
Yeah, again, you've got to hold your discipline. That's the main thing. I'm not always certain about a lot of penalties, but silly. One of them was definitely a silly thing to do, and we know better than that. We did one the week before at Huddersfield where I think it might have even been Cal Watkins of all players, who gave away a crazy penalty in a crazy situation that didn't need to be given. When you've got a team by the throat, you've got to go for it. And what I was going to say about us not scoring, we've not scored loads of points this year. We've been in battles which will suit us in the playoffs. They're always tight. They're always we've been in that all year, and we've usually come out on the winning side. What we've not had this season is a chance to sort of show our skills when we've been 20 points clear. If we get 20 points clear and we start throwing the ball about, we will destroy somebody. We can do that, but we've not got ourselves in that position. So that's something that I'd love to see. But at the moment, I like the way we're winning games. We've got it. You do make it tough. I remember in 2019, we'd had a great season, and back end of the season, and Ian Watson said that I think it was a game away at Headingley. We were winning quite well, and we could have really done a number on them, I think. And he basically said he wanted us in a scrap. He wanted us to play in a scrap because that's what's going to get us mentally ready for the playoffs. And I think we're already in that. I think we've come through it. I think we know how to win tight games. So now I'd love to see us just blow a couple of teams off the park. That'd be, a great way to sort of end the season. But while we're still winning, I don't care. Just get 2 points and let's move on. But yeah, I think that going back to that try, it's just that discipline. You can't do that, and you certainly won't do it against better teams. I'm no disrespect to Cass. They've had a great run. I was worried before the game, I'll be honest. I thought the way they've been playing, the way we've been playing, the confidence, but we obviously we fought them off. But so no disrespect to Cass, but a team like Wigan or Warrington or whatever they'd take more advantage of all your errors. So we can't be doing that. So clean that up. The Cass don't score, but fair play to them again because they spotted that same problem we had.
Yeah. So Cass have momentum there. Scored again. Sakil in the corner. Poor defence around the ruck. Swats a couple of Salford defenders off him and races over from 25 yards untouched.
Yeah, it was a soft one. All he's done is come inside and just got. It was. Yeah, I think Paul Rowleys, that'd be the one that really upset him because that's not Salford. That's not our defence at all. And I know the player who missed, and I'm not going to pick players. I'm not going to name names, but it was a shock that player would come up with that kind of play. It's not his way. Maybe he was just a bit gassed, caught out, whatever. I don't know. Like I say, these lads are running at full every single week. Warm day, under a bit of pressure. He just didn't commit properly to the tackle, and that's what happens. And at that point, again, I was a little bit, oh, here we go. This could go away from us. We didn't deserve to be behind. We shouldn't be behind, but we are. Why? And is that going to is it going to crumble us? But this team's made more than that. We say it every week. It's us that need to change the mindset because these lads won't go down without a fight.
Yeah. So like you said, I think Cass sensed blood at that point, came for us, Bit of rope-a-dope from us, though, as Cass was on the attack. Long pass, Ethan Ryan collects, races 80 metres to score, and we're back in the lead.
Yeah, I mean, to spot them kind of things, spot them plays. There was a couple, was it the Wigan-Warrington game that went the same way? He's picking the play, because if you get it wrong, the opposition score. You know, they dummy you, they loop the ball over, whatever, you come out the line, they wait, get the ball around you. So it's all about just getting it right at that right moment. And Ethan Ryan, like I said before, I think he's been brilliant this year. I really do. He's certainly surprised me as to how good he is. Versatility alone means you have someone like that in your squad, but he's brilliant. And the turn of pace, because when he went, he wasn't getting caught. I wasn't. I'll say this: I was sat down and I didn't get out of my chair, which is unusual, because normally you get up and you're willing him on like a horse race. I just thought, I saw him, and when he scored, I just knew he was going all the way. I don't know what it was just the confidence, but he's got sort of real pace, and he's a really clever player, Ethan Ryan. So yeah, and that again, I think that at that point that turned the game. I think that's the one moment that changed that game. Cass go in that corner, we're in trouble. Instead, he's gone the other way. The match is flipped on its head.
Yeah, like you say, great pace, confidence booster for him that he can go 80 metres. Confidence for us that we know we can go 80 metres as well. So that's what you need in your armour. You need people who can get interceptions and go. And he showed that. It wasn't, like you say, he wasn't particularly sort of busting a gut. He just glided, really, as the Casper defenders tried to chase him down. So, yeah, fantastic try for him. We're back in front. Simbin for Cass puts them down to 12 men again, second time in the game. We take advantage with the try from Oliver Partington, sort of crashes through to score.
Yeah, we deserved that at that point as well. And Ollie definitely did. He had a tremendous game. But the Simbin in there, when I saw it at the time, I thought that looks quite bad. I know we'll talk in a bit about the radios, and I put my earpiece in and listened to the Sky commentary, and John Wells, who's got a lot of commitment with Cass, hasn't he? Worked there, he played there. I think he's even from that. I know he's from Wakefield, but I think he's probably a Cass fan secretly anyway. But he said, that's a bad one. He should be going for a sit down. And when I saw it at first, I thought that's worse than I think the crowd realised. I thought it was a really bad one. He did get a yellow for it, but again, it comes down to that discipline thing. You know, we've had it against us. You can't lose players, not at this level. If you go down to 12 men, you're in trouble. If you can defend with 12 men, you've done really well. So it proved that we just basically outnumbered them. You keep the ball alive. We put them under pressure, bit of strain on their line, and Ollie Partington just sails through a gap. He was, but I thought Ollie was. I know again we'll talk about that in a bit. I thought Ollie was unbelievable the other day. The work rate is tremendous, and he deserved that try.
Yeah, so Salford go back to back. Another try. Chris Hankinson, lovely work by Ryan Briley. He gave it to Tim Laffey. Chris Hankinson on his inside, goes over by the posts. South Stand go mad, and we're in the driving seat.
That's the Salford of 2 years ago. That try. That was everything that we were used to. You're just ripping a team open. And Ryan Briley again showing that pace, and then that little slip pass. You know, we saw it a few weeks ago with Nene McDonald doing it against Saints. That little back, out the back of the hand pass, and then the support's there, and there was numbers running up either way. You know, he could have gone either way. But brilliant, great try. That's the kind of thing that gets people excited, puts bums on seats, seeing that kind of thing, and that's what gets Sky commentators going on about Salford being the entertainers. Tries like that, it's brilliant to see, and it doesn't just happen. That's a lot of work on a training park to get to that level. But that was a superb try, and that was the one. Then we knew. I think the game was over. We did make it easy for ourselves, but I think at that point that had killed it. And I actually thought we might go on and score a couple more because they seemed to wilt a little bit at that point. But fair play to Cass, they stuck in there. But no, it was a brilliant try. Something I'd love to see more of.
Yeah. So Cass score late. We managed the game out because obviously that's an important aspect of the game, really, when you're in front and managing the situation where you don't do silly decisions, don't do silly decisions in attack, don't spill the ball in dodgy areas. So for just manage the game out, and we got the 2 points, and that's probably why we are kind of where we are. We talk about rolly ball and the flair, but he's actually sort of brought that grit and determination into that team where they do need to stick the ball at the jumper and manage a game out, and Mark Sneyd has to kick it or whatever to get us in positions. He can.
But there's the key there, Mark Sneyd, in that kind of position. He just knows what to do and where to be and how to instruct his team what he needs from at that point. He's that, you know, wise old head, if you like, and I know he's playing the best rugby probably of his career, but when it gets into that kind of game, that's what I'm saying about these tight games and how you win them. I think we're already in that mindset that we know how to win it, we know how to control. We just need to get ourselves a lead and then handle it from there. But yeah, that game I think was perfect for what we needed. There was still a test there. We didn't take anything easy or lightly, but it's given us that boost now to go forward with it, you know, for the rest of the season. Get a win back under the belt. It's only been 2 losses, and it's not been the end of the world, but we haven't particularly been playing that well. And then the other day, we've shown signs again of what we can do and who we are. And I think that'll give the whole team a lift now, and hopefully that's the big kick for the back end of the season.
Yeah. So looking at the stats, completion rate, Salford with 84, Castleford with 81, carries was 216 for Salford, 157 for Castleford. Meters made 1,670 for Salford, 1,002 for Castleford. Post carry meters, which I presume means after impact, 667 for Salford, 479 for Castleford. Kick return meters, 145.29 for Castleford. Play the balls in the opposition 20, 42 for us, 4 for Cass.
Wow.
So that information there, I think the important ones are kick returns, because obviously getting us on the front foot. I mean, 145 metres compared to 29 for Cass is massive. And also play the balls in their 20, 42. So we had a lot of territory and a lot of ball.
I think the fact that Cass only had, what did you say, 4 or 5 in our 20. I mean, that's incredible. Considering he scored like three tries or whatever, 4 tries, 3 tries. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think defensively we were obviously very good and defended higher up the park than we normally do, which is good. There was the thing about the kick return that surprises me. Usually a fullback makes that in 1 or 2 returns, especially their wingers and everything. So we must have the kicking game must have been superb, and obviously the chase behind it. That's something we didn't have at Huddersfield. I'll say that we kicked the ball and it was like Jake Connor had 20, 30 metres to run into every single time and do what he wanted. So that's obviously something we worked on during the week, and it shows.
Yeah. Errors, 12 for us, 7 for them. And missed tackles, 25 for us, 48 for them. So shows good defensive effort to kind of half theirs.
Yeah, that's a lot, that 48, isn't it? I'm sure Craig Lingard will be looking at that for Cass this week, because that's far too many. But then when you do go down twice to 12 men, it does cause problems, and it fatigues players. You know, you're doing extra work for somebody else. So that's that's not surprising, I suppose, in that way. But 25 for us. The only thing I didn't like there was the errors. I think we made far too many. We need to sort of clean that up a little bit and keep it into single figures if you can, because that's a lot of errors. You keep giving the ball back, like say, against better teams, that'll punish you.
Yeah. So personal stats: tackles, Oliver Partington 36, Shane Wright 22, Joe Mellor 22, Callum Watkins 25.
Yeah, well, Ollie again. We say it every week, don't
Yeah.
we? Tops the tackle count virtually every week. He's incredible. He's going to be such a loss for us next year. I know we've got players who can come in, and I'm sure we'll have, there'll be a couple of players signed or whatever to try and take his place. But I think he's such a talented player. The one thing that I do want to see before the end of the season is him maybe not do as many tackles in a game and get the ball in hand more, because I think he's a really skillful player. And obviously, he can play loose forward, prop, probably anywhere in the pack if you wanted. I think he does too much defence at times. I know he must love it. Certain players do. You look at the late Malc Alker and people like that, Peter Edwards, and they just love tackling. Shane Hanson being another one after Bradshaw going back. They love tackling. It's what they get on the park for. But I think he's got more to offer. And I think his all-round game the other day was superb. But maybe you can't stop him tackling, obviously, if that's what he wants to do. And we need him doing it. But yeah, I like seeing him with the ball in hand a little bit more.
Yeah. Top meter makers, strap in for this one. Ryan Briley, 129. Ethan Ryan, 208. Nenna McDonald, 203. Tim Laffey, 127. Dion Cross, 127. Brad Singleton, 98. Callum Watkins, 91. Oliver Partington, 108. And Shane Wright, 101.
Wow. They have got to be the best stats this year for us, surely.
Yes.
How many? I mean, couple in the 200s, but having that many in the hundreds as well. And Brad Singleton, who again I thought was excellent the other day. I know he cleaned out George Griffin, didn't he, with that ball running in. That was some collision, but that's superb. That's brilliant. You get on the front foot, making them kind of meters. You're going to be hard to stop. But yeah, a couple of players getting the 200s. I mean, wow. I don't think we've had that this year. I don't even know if we've had anyone in the 200s, but yeah, that's phenomenal. They were massive stats. That's pleased me quite a lot.
We do talk about sort of our backs doing most of the meter making in early in the set, but look at these stats. Brad Singleton 98, Callum Watkins 91, Oliver Partington 108, and Shane Wright 101, all in the forward pack making hard meters as well. Tremendous stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we wanted. That's what we said all along. We want our forwards to make the meet. It's all right. I mean, backs, like you say, you give it Dion Cross and he might get 20 yards to run into before anyone gets near him from a kick or whatever. You're going to pick up meters all the time. The forwards, you've got from when that ball's played to that defensive line only being 10 meters away. Sometimes not even that. Let's be honest. But by the time you've got the ball, they've closed in. You might have 5 meters to work in. So to make them meters, that's brilliant. That's probably the most pleasing stats I've heard all year. I'll be honest.
Yeah, so fantastic performance from everyone. Big thanks for your 3-word man of the matches. David Deakin, much needed win, Brad Singleton. OSF, we won hard, Brad Singleton. Mark, very good game, Ethan Ryan. Andy Lancashire, much needed win, Oliver Partington. Paul Whiteside's mate, Roy Ellaby, hard work again, Partington. Andy Smith, 4th in the league, Oliver Partington. Matt made it hard, Oliver Partington. Jamie Hopwood, oh my anxiety. Not the only one, Jamie, saying that. Brad Singleton. Colin Wilson, hard-earned win. Oliver Partington. Natalie Taylor, could have scored more. Brad Singleton. Alan Walker, best team won. Adam Aubrey, very gritty performance. Ethan Ryan. And, yeah, so very happy. Our, listeners who were putting their 3-word man of the matches in. Brad Singleton, Oliver Partington, picking up the points there, Parkett.
Yeah, and Ethan Ryan as well. Surprised no mention for Joe Miller, who I thought was tremendous again. I think what an asset he's been. I mean, even Ryan Briley. He scored one, set one up. He was faultless round the park. Yeah, probably his best game in a while. Nene, Tim Laffey. You could have probably picked anyone, but yeah, I'm glad Brad Singleton's got some mentions there because he works tirelessly every week and he's kind of been the cornerstone of that front row this season, and it's about time he got a bit of credit for it. So yeah, he did have a tremendous game. I hope George Griffin's all right, by the way, because he didn't look great when he went off. I've not heard anything since, but Brad ran it in. Let's just say that, and George knew about it. But obviously, we all got a lot of time for George Griffin. He's a good lad for us. So yeah, I hope he's all right. But well done to Brad.
Yeah, spoke to me after the game, George Griffin, as well. Oh, lets on every time we play Castleford, gives me like an high five. But yeah, he did look a bit dazed. I did say I was the head, and he just went. So we'll see. Hopefully, like you say, these rugby players, really tough, aren't they? Talking about Brad Singleton, like you say, fantastic at the moment. Talks good game as well. I've interviewed a couple of times for the podcast. Very, methodical about what happens in the game. A great investment in coming in from Leeds.
Yeah, he's been around. He knows the game, doesn't he? He's learned, and people were always worried about his discipline and this and that. This year, he's been brilliant. He really has. He's led our front row without any doubt. Him and bringing Gil Dudson in, that experience. These lads that. Because we lacked in the front row, we know that, and obviously Jack Orman-Wright being missing for such a big chunk of the season, we've had to make do. Shane Wright's played up there and people like that, but the main work has to be done by props. you can have someone standing in, but it's not the same thing. And he's been phenomenal, and I'm just glad that he's getting a bit of respect now, and people are spotting what great work he's been doing.
Yeah. So well done for the good win against Cass. Back on track for that top 6 spot. Let's talk about our reserves now, Parky. They were in action before the main event on Saturday. Played Hull FC at home. Unfortunately, went down to defeat 28 points to 34. Tries from Nathan Connell, John Hutch, 2 for Charlie McCurry, and Ethan Fitzgerald. Wasn't enough for the victory, but did run Hull FC to the wire.
Yeah, I said to you off air, I got to the ground early on Saturday, and I wanted to watch it. I was there not much after 12. I thought I'll go and watch, and then I got tied up talking to people and sorting other things out, and I didn't get to see it. But people were coming over to me saying they've been watching, and Nathan Connell's name got mentioned God knows how many times by people saying what a good player he is. So it's great to see him, and again that goes back. I just want to mention the Supporters Trust there who've helped that happen, and helping these players develop, and putting the money in. So that was great to see. McCurry, I mentioned him to you a few times, the second rower. I think he's a real talent. I think he's going to be a bit of a star. He's got a long way to go. He's only young, really young. I think that Pye played as well, didn't he, for the lad we signed recently. We know what it's about in the reserves this year. It's development for them. They're not, the team changes every week. They don't know who's going out on loan, who's going to be in there, who's, it's very difficult to get any kind of balance. But what they do, they push every week. If they don't win, they have a good crack. I think there's so many good signs. Some good play. I mean, you mentioned Fitzgerald there. We've never mentioned him, and I've seen him a few times, and he's a real talent. And also, bear in mind, these lads haven't come through an academy as such because we haven't got one. So they've been thrown into an extra level up, really, in many ways, playing against more senior players that, Hull have been signing everybody. So what's happened to the players that are in their first team at the moment? Probably in the reserves. Experienced lads. So, it's always going to be tough for them. And I think they're doing it tough, but they put their hand up every week. And like I said, there's some really good talent in there.
Yeah, and obviously this, class of 2024 has, improved by all accounts on last year. Stuart Wilkinson have brought in, more players who he feel can maybe be able to jump up to the next level, and he has regular communication with Paul Rowleys about who could possibly, make that step. And that's the important thing. These lads who come in to our reserves, it's opportunity, and you play well. Paul Rowleys and Stuart Wilkinson communicate, and then you may get that opportunity to play or even become in the squad. Play training with the first team squad is probably a massive step in it compared, intensity levels, and I suppose it's getting used to that really. But he works wonders on it. Stuart Wilkinson, he does great, development throughout the reserves and all through the system. So yeah, defeat against Hull, but some promise there.
Yeah, I've said to you before about Stu Wilkinson. I think he's the kind of guy, if you're a rugby league geek, a bit like what we are, you could listen to him forever. His knowledge of rugby league is unbelievable. And the way he goes about coaching it, and he makes it, everything just work. When you hear him speak, you go, oh yeah, I get that. I get it. I understand what you're doing with them, and that'll help him massively. The thing is, a lot of these lads who are still young, give them the off season, training with the first team, going on a camp with them, working on the weights and everything, the physical side of it, because it's a big step between reserves, academy, and obviously first team. Super League is massive. Give them them few months in between. You'll see a lot of them develop. They'll get a couple of years, they'll be another year older, experienced, bulk them up, get them into that kind of physical presence. And I think you'll see 2 or 3 of that team in the squad next year. I really do. I mean, you need 27, 30 players in the squad. But at the moment, we're at about 24, 25, whatever. We've got players on loan, so it doesn't really work. To be part, like you've said there, to be part of that environment, to be training every day with the first team, to be learning off Mark Sneyd, Callum Watkins, Ryan Briley, Brad Singleton, if you're a forward, to get that experience, that's what we need. And these lads haven't had that really, because they haven't had that off season with the guys. Everything's gets thrown together late. I think we've got a plan. The academy comes in next year. The club are moving in the right direction. I think these lads will develop in the next 12 months massively. And I think by this time next year, some of them names that we've mentioned will be in the first team.
Exciting times for the club. Let's talk about our ladies. We're in action this week, but last week They played Stanley at home and won 48 points to 4. 2 tries from Casey Miller, 2 tries from Alex Simpson, 2 tries from Kimberly Seddon, 1 from Catherine Washington, 1 from Tina Miller, 1 from Jadine McVernon, and 1 for captain Tazka Corrin. 2 goals for Sam Evans and 2 goals from Kimberly Seddon. Mike Grady's ladies playing the Grady way.
Well, that's 4 points conceded in 2 games. That's massive. That's the pleasing aspect there. It's all right, beating teams and convincing. I mean, I'm sure he's disappointed that they conceded the 4, but at the same point, that's 2 games. We went away to Bradford the week before and didn't concede any. So it shows how these girls have developed over the year. The level they're getting to. We know that Lee are the benchmark. We know that's where you've got to get to. But I think we're building nicely. I think we're doing well towards the playoffs. Another great win and points, confidence. That's what the girls need. They need a bit of a blowout and to be able to build that bond and work on things during that game. I think we need to work on the goal kicking, judging by the amount of tries to goals we got. But
who's winning?
That'll come. They want to go and spend a few days with Sneedy, I think, and just go and have a run through things. But no, brilliant, great. Again, it's that progress, isn't it? We said it all year. This team was again thrown together in no time. Start of the year was always going to be difficult. They've built through this season, and now we're getting to that point where we're getting close to the play. I don't know how many games are left. There can't be many. So we've just got to, keep focused and go in the manner we're doing. If we're defending like that, we're going to be very, very tough to beat.
Yeah. So basically, Salford scored early through Casey Miller. There was 10 minutes of pressure from Stanley, and then Alex Simpson scored to make it 10-0, and that got to 22-0 at half time. We were in the box seat after that. And like you said, Parker, playing good rugby, moving the ball, creating space, creating opportunities. I think Mike Grady, like you say, will be, more than happy about the only 4 points conceded in the last 2 games, because that's what top teams do, don't they? They turn the screw, but then also keep the back door shut as well. So, fantastic performance for our ladies. Like you said before, Lee are head and shoulders above everyone else in the division. But when it comes to playoffs, different kind of pressure. And as our ladies, I was thinking about this. Was it yesterday or the day before? We've built as we've gone. When the first time we were in the championship, we were the front runner.
Yeah.
And obviously, Oulton caught us in the end.
Yeah.
But this time, we are building as we go. So will Lee feel that pressure come playoff time? And that's the big question. If we continue to build and then meet them in the playoffs, who knows?
Well, it's all about momentum, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Building up to the playoffs. So we've just got to keep doing what we're doing now. Score a few points. I think that, like I said about the first team there, where we've not been blowing teams away. It's nice to be getting to a 20, 30 point lead and then start throwing the ball about. And that's what the girls got to do last week, sorry. They got into that lead and then it's right, okay, let's put our foot down here. Let's see what we can do. Let's work on a few things. I know it's not a training game, the 2 points on the line, but at that point when the game's won, that's the comfortable part where you can start playing a little bit. The pressure's off, and I think that'll do us a huge favour. But we just got to keep the defence as tight as it is, and we'll be fine. And I don't think if you go into them playoffs in the kind of form we've been in, I think we've lost one in I don't know how many now. It's been a decent run. You go into the playoffs in that form, nobody really wants to play you evenly, because they know that it can always be an upset. I mean, I always think back to 2003. And we played Lee 7 times that year.
Yeah.
And the first game we drew, at Hilton Park, and then we went all the way through. We got to the grand final and thought we've beaten these every time. We set a 1 draw, but this could be that day. It didn't. It didn't happen that way. It was tighter than the scoreline reflects. Actually, I watched it again the other day. I didn't realise a bit more squeaky bum than I give it credit for. But and that can always happen, and that'll creep into players' minds. The league players might think, what, we beat these a couple of times, but they've been on a roll, and they're a better team. They've got new players. Just that little bit of doubt in the role you get on. So fingers crossed the girls can keep that momentum up and then hit the playoffs, and who knows from there.
Yeah. So that's all the match chat, and now we'll see what's happening in the world of Salford Red Devils. So we'll start with Saturday's game, Parker, inclusion week. We had a Learning Ability Rugby League Festival going on. We had a wheelchair trying session going on. Great. Obviously, the club engaging with the local community and trying to sort of build up that community feel.
Yeah, brilliant. Great idea. I noticed when I got there, I was looking around, I saw Warrington shirts and Saint shirts and Barrow shirts. I'm thinking, what's going on here? What are these doing? It's a bit random. And people just walking around. Then I realised what was happening. Great event. Brilliant. The club again just reaching out to the community, not just local community, the rugby league community, and making it everybody aware that we're open. This is what we do. The wheelchair thing. I know Marissa and Heather and Mark all trying to grab me. Daniel, what you're gonna have a go? I made me excuses. I not at the moment, thanks. But no. And then the referee Chris Kendall come along and got in a chair and had a go. Put on a Salford wheelchair team shirt and had a go. I mean, fair play to him for that. Not always been his. I'm not always chanting his name, but brilliant for that. That shows rugby league at its best. I think the referee comes on and joins in and has a go, and it was good to see. So everyone seemed to have fun who did it. But that's the club. That's where we're at. That's we need to shout it from the rooftops. This is what's happening. It is everybody's allowed. Everybody's included in what we do. I know the obviously the lines on the pitch were changed colour for colour blindness, which if you don't affect you by it, you don't even think about it. You don't know it exists. But then when they came out with the stats, you think, wow, that's actually more prevalent than you think. People don't see red. Red. It's what I am. You know what I mean? I wear red every day, I think. And people don't, things like that. It makes you think, doesn't it? That when they go to the game, what do people see? And I thought it was a great thing, and it just highlights awareness in things, and that's what it's all about, and that's what the club are doing.
Fun fact, Parky, you might not know, I'm colourblind.
Really? But what's your?
Well, yeah, it is the three different kinds of colour blindness that the club sort of showed. I'm the third one, which is anomalous tricholomancy, which is basically it's different shades of red and green that bleed into each other, basically. So I can see red when it's red, and I can see green when it's green. But if there's like a sliding scale of red and green, it's no good to me down the middle.
So you never watch South Sydney, do you?
No, and I can't fly a plane.
An absolute nightmare by the sounds of it.
Yeah, can't fly a plane, can't be an electrician. So
I'll remember that if I ever get on a flight and hear your voice. No, look, but things like that, it does highlight and it gets people talking, doesn't it? And it's you can't fault the club for what they do. They've picked up something there that 90% of the population wouldn't even think about. And now I know something about that I didn't know before. I've learned something. I've listened to what people have said. And the team sheet, you saw that, the way that was written.
Yeah.
How would you know that was a problem? You wouldn't. People suffer, and it's crazy, really, that you go through life not knowing certain things, and then the rugby club highlight it to you. It's gone on the days where it was, turn up at 3:00 on a Sunday afternoon, and that's your lot, off you go. The work they do in the community is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, so different font for dyslexic people, which is great. Like you say, includes them. It'd be great if you could put just first name and second names on team sheets as well. That'd be helpful for people who podcast to find out what different first names there is for certain teams. But we'll go with it for the font first. So that was exciting. Fan link radios. You had a little go on the radio. What did you make of it?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And I'll tell you what, obviously everybody knows that my eyes aren't great and I'm a little bit visually impaired. And the amount of times during a game I'll turn to someone and say, what's he give that for? Who's that? How long's left on that clock? What, whatever. Because I can't see. And it must annoy people. Can you not watch? So I put it in. I took it out at times to talk while the game was on and so on. But it was a massive lift. And what I will say is, I think you catch on. I don't think you need to be visually impaired to have one, because there are obviously times in a game where you think, what's gone on there? You listen to it on Sky and they explain it, and you go, right, now I get what's happening. A bit like when you're going about VAR in football, so when the crowd don't know what's going on, it offers you that link to the actual live action. I thought it was a brilliant idea. I really did. And obviously, I've got some visual impairment. There are people there with a lot worse conditions than me, who will unbelievably benefit, and hopefully we can get this out and then get out into the community again and bring people along who literally just can't see, blind or whatever, and give them the option to come along and feel the atmosphere, because there's nothing like being there, nothing at all. I said to you before we came on, when I was watching it, I had an earpiece in and I'm watching the game. It's like being at home watching it on Sky, only you got the buzz, and I don't mean in the very way of the four-wheel thing that people get on and get places. But you got that vibe of being in the stadium and everything else, but you feel part of it. I think, again, another thing that the club have just done that nobody thinks about. Nobody, I often get the Mickey taken out of me by the lads, especially in the South Stand away days. You missed a great game there today, Parky, and things like that. I find it quite funny, but that gave me a link to the game, and I did feel at times that I had an advantage in many ways over other people in the ground who didn't have a clue what was going on. So yeah, brilliant. Well done to the club again for that, and I'll certainly, if they're going to keep doing it, I'll do it again. What I didn't know was I was allowed to keep the radio, and I handed mine back in.
That's the thing, really. I think that's the important part now. It needs to be, because I think the club have put out a social media thing saying, if you like the new lines, contact the RFL. So it might turn into something. I think the radio thing, I think that is key. I think obviously a lot of times, especially in this world where they go into video referees and everyone's looking at it thinking, what's he looking at here? You with your earpiece in can hear what he's looking at. Can see what he's can hear what he's doing and saying and deciding. So then you have an advantage. So really, I think it might be something that the club would possibly look at sort of expanding and saying, if you want to hear video sort of commentary from the game plus any video refereeing decisions, buy this for a £5 or rent it for a £5 or something a game, put it in your ear, and then like you say, Parky, gives you that extra dimension on what's going on. It might also take the frustration out of the crowd when there's, what they give that for? I can't believe it. Like the Nanny McDonald disallowed try. People around me were like, well, what's he give that for? And I'm looking at it thinking, I'm not quite sure why. But if I had the earpiece in, then I'd be saying, well, he's looking at this and that's why he's giving it. So it's just kills that tension straight away.
I think there's another thing that if you bring in a new fan who doesn't quite understand the rule, why, not a decision, but why did they do that? Why did they have that now? Why is he? Someone's talking to you all the time. It's like on Sky. Sometimes I shout at the screen, going, "It's not my first rodeo. I know what's happening. What are you explaining it to me for?" They're explaining it to people who don't know. But I'm thinking, I'm watching it. But they do that. And if you've never been to a game before, or you're trying to get into it, and you're trying to learn the rules or whatever else, it's a great link. What I will say about that McDonald incident, by the way, he actually made me more angry. John Wells said he thought it was a try. So the commentators thought it was a try. The referee thought it was a try, but the video ref didn't. So that made me even more angry knowing it. But we'll let that pass. And plus, the only thing is, if a Sky commentator is getting on your nerves, if it's John Wilkin or something like that, you may end up smashing it. But other than that, great idea.
Fun story though. There's a guy who sat behind me at the game. I think he might have been a Sale fan who just come to watch. And in at half time, he tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Why did he disallow that Nanny McDonald try?" And I was like, not quite sure why. But if I had the earpiece in, I'd be able to tell him. So yeah, I think it's something the club might be looking into. Hopefully they will, just to have increase that match day experience for everyone, not just for people who are blind and who want to engage in the game. Negative parts of it though, only 3,400 in the attendance park. I know there's lots of different aspects, school holidays, people on holiday, but yeah, it's a bit, as we were getting 5,000 not like a month ago. So where's the missing 2,000 people gone?
I don't know. I think a couple of bad performances to start with. I know it's not an excuse. You don't. It's not why you stop watching the team. There are holidays. The only thing, I think there was a festival on Monday at Barton, some music festival, and Salford City were at home to Everton. So a few thousand might have gone there to watch that, because obviously it's not every week you get a Premier League football team going to Salford City, to Moor Lane. So that would have had an effect. I'm not making excuses. There's about 250,000 people live in the city of Salford. It's not, and then you've got a wider region. The amount of people that I know who don't even live in Salford who go. So it's the people of Salford who aren't turning up. I don't know why. I don't know what more people want. We've never seen it this good since the 70s. You know, the rugby we play, we're a proper team. You know what I mean? We're not a joke. This isn't a one-off. This isn't a fluke that we're in the playoffs. We're there or thereabouts virtually every year for the last 5 or 6 years. This isn't a flash in the pan. I don't understand what we've got to do. I will say, and again, I don't want to criticise, but I don't think we do enough marketing or advertising. I really don't. I think that's a problem. I think if you live in certain parts of Salford, you wouldn't even know it was a rugby team. Never mind when they're playing and who they're playing. I could walk into a pub in Eccles, I think on Saturday afternoon when we're playing Leeds, and say there's a game on today, and people wouldn't know. That's not really good enough. If they go, I know, but I don't care, or I'm not going, I'm going to watch it on the telly, which is another effect at the moment because every game is on. So Cass might have brought an extra 500 or 600 the other day, maybe. I don't know. You sit at home and watch it. Why would you travel? It was a Saturday afternoon. People do other things on Saturdays. You know, I'm not trying to make excuses, but there are a lot of things going in that need to change. I think the club, they need to do more. They do need to do more, and not market it on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter, because if you're following on there, you know of them. It's to get to the people who don't know us. That's where the element is to spread this word. How did Keighley go from a few hundred to 6,000 in the 90s? How did Bradford go from a few thousand to 20,000? What did they do different that we're not doing? Why is this? Why did Sale go from playing Haywood Road in front of a few hundred to filling out Salford Stadium? What are we missing? What's the element that's not going on? It's not the entertainment on the pitch, clearly. It's not the facilities. There's something missing. The apathy of the Salford public's one of them. I'll agree with that. Having the monster of Manchester United, Manchester City next door is another. But there are still enough people to go around to start getting at least 5,000 or 6,000 in that ground.
I think, you know, it was inclusion week. We had, like you say, you know, different people from different society who have different issues, and we were sort of showing them rugby league for the first time and adapting things. As a dad who's as a son who's autistic, I kind of deal with that every day to make his life the best it can be. And as a dad who has to sort of engage with different community teams and things like that, I always think that it's very sort of not connected. So there's things in Trafford. I take my son to a place called Everyone Can, which is basically they play computer games, right? But they are just based in Sale. And then I take him to a different in Oulton, which is like a gym thing, but they aren't connected. They're just two separate sort of places that run separate things, which I've had to find out about myself. So I'm thinking that when you've got the police day, army day, it's a massive organisation, that the police and the army, and they can mobilise much easier and quicker than people who are like me, who look after my autistic son. So I think that's half the problem, that you're looking to. I'm going to tell you now that 2,000 people won't turn up because they might not have the connections to know what's going on. Yeah, the club will be doing what they can on social media, but with social media, you're having to battle against the algorithm, aren't you? Because our advert will only be shown to people who are already engaged with Salford Devils.
Yeah.
And that's the problem we have. Yeah, we can share to friends and family and that, but that will only reach so far. So the club are fighting against that as well, which is a problem.
Yeah.
But like I say, you know, it was fantastic what the club did, you know, engaging in the local community. The community integrated care team were there as well. So there was people involved in that as well. So yeah, it's an issue. I'm sure they'll think about it, and hopefully it'll grow and grow in as the seasons and the years go on.
I think the support's there. I think it's getting them out at the moment. Again, I don't think the TV deal helps in that way. I said at the start of the season, I think it will put a few people off. I know people who haven't bought season tickets this year because it's cheaper to sit at home and watch it on the telly. I think that, but there has to be an answer. I'm not any marketing guru. I've got no qualification to tell anyone how to do their job in that way. But I don't see enough in my area, and I live in M6. I live in, what you would consider traditional Salford, and I don't see anything. So, and I'm looking for it. I want to see it. I'm trying to get people to go. What we do, we've got to get out and tell people how good this product is, how good this is your team. If you're not going, you're the odd one. Why aren't you going? That's what other teams have done. They made you look a fool for not going. You're not part of this. Why not? Why are you not going? Why? What? And we need to sort of do more. And I know there's budget restraints at Salford. I understand that. Hopefully, once the stadium's sorted, the council can do a little bit with us. With this the rugby league strategy, getting out into the schools, getting people from a young age engaged again. And we have struggled. This isn't a new phenomenon. We've struggled for 30, 40 years of crowds. This is nothing new, but we've had a lot of time to develop something, and it's not quite there yet. And we have had a couple of encouraging crowds this season, but mainly when the away fans have turned up as well. Saints, Wigan, even Warrington, even though they're not turning up perhaps in the numbers they used to do. But our home support at the moment, our away support's phenomenal. So there's something missing, and I don't know what it is.
But I think the success of Saturday was you're making people think, yeah, there's people out there who need this. So that's the success of it all. It's not all about numbers, even though Paul King would say it's all about numbers. In reality, being a community club, you're embracing everybody, and that's the success of the event and the match and everything that was around it for me.
How many of those people who came to the Blue Light Day or would have come to the Armed Forces Day or what we had on Saturday have been back or will come back? How many?
That's a good question.
Do we have the stats on that? And what are we doing to make them come back? But it's no good getting people in for one game. Although I have said myself on social media this week, if you only come to one game, come to one on Saturday. But for a fact they'll all be there for grand final tickets or Wembley tickets. So it's there. We just need to do something to drag them out. I also do believe, and I'll get shouted at by a lot of people about this, I think access to the stadium is still not anywhere near good enough. For someone like me who relies on public transport to get there, it isn't good enough. We had Andy Burnham come to the club mid-season and tell us they've got plans to do this, that, and the other. Nothing's changed. We got that bus from the Trafford Centre. I've still got to get to the Trafford Centre to get there. I'm not asking people to lay on a chauffeur for me or anything like that. But having one bus every God knows how long or whatever, and then when you want to come home, if I want to get on a bus back to where I am, well, there's a few hundred people waiting for the same bus. So you've got to wait a lot longer. These things need to, the council need to work with the transport authority and everybody, and we need to get a plan together to get people to that stadium as easily so that excuses are taken away. Simple as that.
Yeah, but keep the bus to the Trafford Centre because it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
This isn't us saying get rid of the bus. We're going to get a new bus somewhere else. We've got it there. People know it's there. People messaging on various message boards on Facebook and that saying, is the bus running? So people are engaging with it. But like you say, Parker, I suppose it's other powers outside our our interaction, what we can affect at the moment. But we'll see. We'll live and learn. But like you say, it's something that I'm sure the club will be looking to get better at.
Yeah, that's one part of a plan, of a strategy. It has to be. The Trafford Centre link has to be one part. There has to be others. We can't just go, there you go. That's not enough. Put it in people's faces and let's see what they do. Let's make that happen. I mean, I know the supporters did that. The bus that went around, it went along the height, and it went, from the precinct and so on. It worked. It was decent. It got people sat out, coming out the pubs to get on the bus to go to the game. It was there. It made life easier because it's not from certain areas of sort of the city of Salford. Barton's a long way. If you live in Lower Broughton, how are you getting there? Somebody's got to come up with a plan. We need a strategic plan of transport to get people to that stadium to make them feel like they are actually part of something.
Yeah,
that's my rant done.
So, other positive news: Chris Ninu signs new 5-year deal. Great result. Really nice bloke. I speak to him on every week, and the press conference, good at interviews, very dry sense of humour. Him and Paul Rowleys, Kurt Agate, great group there leading the Rowley Ball philosophy. Very excited about what's to come.
It's excellent news. Absolutely phenomenal. I think there was a threat a few weeks ago. I was talking to people who were sort of saying that there was murmurings he may be going home. He may have to go home because he can't secure a career. It's a short-term thing, and if you're a coach, especially if, God forbid that our head coach decides I'm going, someone else comes in and goes, well, I don't want you. That guy, he's got a contract, he's got a deal, he can settle, he can be happy, his family can do what they need to do, kids to school, whatever, he's got a future. I think he's brilliant. I think the players will tell you he's brilliant. I think the club will tell you he's brilliant. I think he's influence behind the scenes. He's massive and massively underplayed. I think him. Obviously, we know how good Kurt Haggerty is. He's obviously superb. But Chris, needed to stay. I think he's got so much respect, and certainly he has a connection with the overseas players as well, which is very difficult to settle sometimes. We'll see it with Nicarima now and other players. And we've not had that problem. We had it once, I think, with one player who hasn't quite worked. But generally, they come over and they settle. He'll have something to do with that, and he'll also know the background of a lot of these players. He'll have connections over, in Australia, New Zealand, whatever, and he'll know the right characters to bring over. He's massive key to what we're going to be doing in the next few years. And from a personal note, I just hope it's an indication of perhaps more to come. That's what I'm hoping for. Let's just say I'm not a religious man, but I would certainly start praying.
Yeah. Talk about indications, Parker. Early bird season tickets are now on sale for 2025. Prices frozen for the 2024 season. Savings are to be made. Good for the club. Puts money in the pot. Shows indirectly, because obviously Paul King spoke to us early in the season about not being able to put early bird tickets on early this season because he hadn't organised a deal with the stadium. So taking that into consideration, if they can, then it's something to think about there. And obviously, like you said, very exciting. Get your seat early. All good.
I think it's an indication that things are moving. That we can commit to. We are going to be at that stadium. It is our ground now. This time last year, we couldn't do that. That's why the season tickets were late. And like you say, get them on sale now. Get the money in. That goes into the bank. It helps us recruit for next season. It helps us get stronger. And it gives an indication of where we're heading and what needs to be done. And maybe by, November, December, they might look at the figures and go, well, we've sold this many. Now we need to push. This is where we need to target. This is what we're not doing. This is where it's not happening. Gives us a plan of what we can do to attack to get more people in. I've already said that this season, for next season, I'm going to upgrade my season ticket. So I'm going in the posh seats. I've had enough. I'm going to get myself a padded seat.
Wow.
Yeah. I like the West Stand as it is anyway, but I think that more central view higher up you can't beat it. And with the prices being frozen, I don't think you can complain. I think again, what I was saying about the problem with the crowds and all that, I'm definitely not beating the club. I'm not being negative. I want more. I'm happy to do my bit, and I think the people who work there are doing a great job on very little at the moment. This is another a step. They're getting it out early. They're keeping the prices low. There's so many things that for that money, for the whatever it is for your season ticket. You think about over a year how little that actually is. And I'm not saying, I know a lot of people are suffering. We're nowhere near strong in this country at the moment financially, but this is a massive effort. We could have put an extra 20% on the season tickets again this year and said, look, that's just the cost of living, the cost of running a stadium. Because they've not done that. So now it's time to sort of repay that, that sort of respect for us and go and get one. If you haven't got one this year, go and get one now. Go pick up. You've got another 12 months, whatever, to pay it off in. You pay it up. I'm sure the direct debit and everything else or whatever's going on. If you can pay it off straight away. Do what you want. But great option, brilliant. It's out now. I mean, we're not even at the playoffs this year yet. Now, can you imagine? We've got the season tickets on sale now. We make the grand final at the end of the year. You don't know how many people are going to be interested then. Your seat might have gone where you want to sit in any of the stands. So let's get it done now.
Here's an idea for you, Parker. last time we got to a grand final, people were queuing up all the way to the pub at the top of the road.
Yeah.
What we should do is, want to win a season ticket, fill a form in, we do a prize draw, and we have all the data as well. So magic moment comes to me in a flash, you know.
Yeah.
Never know.
I mean, what do we have? 14, 15,000 at that grand final.
Mm.
How many of them people's details do we actually have up to date, know who they are and what they're doing? Probably not that many. That could have been a great idea, you know. So all we've got to do now is make a grand final. The easy part.
Exactly. And we're all lay in wait now. So when it happens, we'll be able to do it, no problem. Yeah. Other news. Congratulations to Ellis Clark and Joe Griffin. Played for England Community Lions in France this weekend. Joe Griffin scored as well.
Yeah, I think it was a tough little tour for them. The French youth show a lot more than their senior counterparts, I think, when it comes to international rugby. It's always going to be tough going over there, but great to see a couple of local lads getting in there and having a go. Getting selected, because it's like in rugby league, there's certain areas that are going to dominate. Wigan, Saints, Leeds, places like that. And now we've got our own local Salford lads coming through and making an impact, and that shows the development in the game in the area. I said it a few months back that I don't remember the scene being as strong in Salford ever. And this is just the benefit of that, and it shows the great work that goes in from the local amateur coaches, the clubs, everything they do. They're all volunteers and they work so hard. And now we started to produce, and it's more. It's great for the players themselves and their families, but for the clubs they're from, the pride that they'll feel in that is phenomenal.
Yeah. Other news: Ben Helliwell signs new 1-year deal. Good squad player for us. Brings depth. Good stuff.
Yeah, he's never let us down, Ben. He's been injured, this year, obviously, which has been a big blow for us with having such a small squad. But if he gets fit, every time he plays, he's one of them players, like I mentioned before, about players putting a shirt on and giving 100%. He does that. You can't ask for more than that. And I think he's got something about him as well. He's not the biggest of forwards, but he certainly runs his size. So, great news. And again, it just showed, we are working on what we're going to be doing next year, tying players down. We're not going to have another 14 players in and out at the end of the year. We're going to have a settled squad, which is going to help us add a couple more into it. And, it's just progress, isn't it? So I'm delighted for Ben. He has been unlucky this year. Hopefully we might, I don't think we will, but we might get to see him before the end of the season.
Yeah. Another player that's come in, Jaden Nicarima, standoff, ex-Catalan, looked okay on Saturday. Fresh face, new ideas. Hopefully will kick us on. I asked Chris Ninu whether he could make the same impact that Jackson Hastings did when he came to Salford towards the back end of the transfer window. And he said he's a different character, but he's still a great player.
Yeah, I think Jacko was 1 in a million, to be honest. I think he's I think what he brought, I listened to a sort of podcast the other day, which Simon Williams and Dennis Riley were doing, and they obviously mentioned about Jacko and the impact that he had. And he basically is a catalyst for where we are now. When he came in 2019, we weren't making playoffs, we weren't doing anything, and all of a sudden, or 2018, all of a sudden he instilled something in the squad that changed the attitude of Salford Rugby League Club, made us into winners, and that's where we are now. So we've got a lot to thank Jacko for. I don't think Jaden's quite the same. He's not the same experience, but what he is, he's a runner. He's quick. He gives us an option we haven't had this year at standoff. I think Cade Cuss came in. He's more of an organizer in that way. He isn't an individual. We had Chris Atkin play there, who love Chris a bit, and he'll play anywhere for you, but he's not a standoff half, and that's not what he's made for. I think Jaden's going to give us a bit more direction in attack. But we seem to have, like I was saying about us being flat the other week, we didn't have an option. There was nothing to break the play up to give us a little bit of something. I think he's going to do that. He's made mistakes at Catalan, and he made mistakes previously. I'll guarantee Paul Rowleys worded him up and basically said, one mistake, 1 foot out of line, turn up to training 10 minutes late, forget it. You got no contract for next year. We're not keeping you. Off you go. You can find something else. And he'll be on his best. And I think he'll try and prove now to the end of the season So the impact that Hastings had, it'll be different, but it'll still be positive. It'll be a lift to the team to have a new face in there. But the way he plays, he's not an organiser. He's not going to tell players what to do, but he's going to give us something we haven't had.
Which is blistering pace, which is exciting because obviously with the back division fast as well, scoring tries, extra dimension to our attack. Transfer window shuts Friday. Parker, Nicarima in, Joe Bullock in, Jamie Pye in, Nathan Connell in, King V out. Any more in or out, do you think?
I'd be surprised if anyone came in. I think financially we're probably at our limit. I mean, again, I mentioned before about getting 3,000 people in the ground. That's not going to pay anybody's wages. That's a bit of an issue. I know Adam Sidlow's gone out on loan, hasn't he? He's at Oulton. I don't think we can let anybody else go because 2 more injuries. Again, I do believe we may have Jack Almonroy back before the playoffs, which would be a massive lift. So perhaps we're not, if we can just get through another period now of another month or whatever, we might be fresh for the playoffs. Obviously, you want more players. We always do. Greedy. I'm a fan. I want to play it like FIFA. I want to just go out and sign whoever I want. It's not the same thing, is it? I think I'd like another forward because our lads have been absolutely battered this year. They'll be drained. Like I said, at Huddersfield, we look like we'd spent everything we had. These players who've played nearly every week. We need to get some players rested and give them time off before any potential playoffs. So I'd love to, but I would be very, very surprised unless we can loan somebody. But financially, I think we're probably at the limit now, and I think we just get a settled squad and carry on.
Yeah, I'd like another Joe Bullock, another forward, big forward, because when him and Brad Singleton were on, we looked big and solid down the middle. Obviously, they went off. Forwards came on, bit more lightweight, bit more mobility. But I would like another big forward if we can get one. But like you say, we know what the money's like. If one becomes available and the money's there, then it will happen. But if it doesn't, it doesn't. You have to go. What we can't do is lose anyone, because that would be, like you say, a bit of a nightmare for Paul Rowleys. But Friday is the deadline. We'll all wait with bated breath on that one. So let's see about the games this weekend. So start with our ladies. They're away on Sunday. Oulton. Oulton are third in the league. Oh, sorry, we're third in the league. Oulton are fifth. They beat Stanley last week 64-4 away. So, yeah, they are a good side. We'll have to be on our toes.
Yeah, we had a few battles with them, haven't we, in recent years. I'm not sure what the setup is there now, because I know they used to loan a lot of players off Leeds and use a lot of their players. So they had a lot of experience and decent, they would draft them in when it came to a big game, I think. And this is obviously going to be a big game because they'll want to get into the playoffs as well. But our ladies have just got to keep doing what they're doing. It's a big test again, like it was. Well, every week is really, but the last few weeks we've had some real big games, which will toughen us up and get us in the right mindset. So it's going to be a good test. It really is. It's a shame it's away. Just for the extra support, I suppose. But we've done well away this year. We've done pretty well on our travels, so we should go there full of confidence the way we've been playing. So whether the week off has helped us or hindered us, I'm not sure. But hopefully we've got a few bodies and we can go over there and do the business. I think it'd be fairly tight though. I really do.
Yeah, and obviously, they're in the mix for the playoffs, and I think, like you said, it's a big test, and obviously you need to keep winning to keep the momentum, because the chasing pack is coming. But we've just come off a big win against Stanley, playing some good stuff as well. Defense is tight, 4 points in 2 games for Mike Grady's ladies. So, it's going to go into the bear pit at Oulton and get a result. Like you say, we've had some good battles with them over the years, but this is going to be another one. They'll be looking to sort of knock us off our perch. So I'm sure Mike Grady's ladies will be ready.
Yeah, they'll be well prepared. They'll have worked on it this week. They'll know what to expect. There'll be no surprises now. We just look like we're a bit more settled now, don't we, as a team and as a squad? And what I do notice most weeks is that there are changes in the squad, but they're not, it's like everybody needs a run. Everybody's got to get out there and get game time. And I think it might probably just get to that point now where he knows his best team. Because, like I said, mid-season we got quite a few new recruits, didn't we? And things changed. I think we got a couple in on loan and things like that. And it's obviously changed the way we do things. So, but we look settled now, and I think this is probably going to be the big test now. Because, like you say, Oulton can draft players in from places, and they'll want to, like you say, they'll want to beat us for old time's sake, really. But I think it'd be a big test. If we come through this, I'll be more than confident that we'll be a real force coming into the playoffs.
Yeah. So let's look forward now to the game against Leeds on Saturday at home. Leeds have that new coach. Obviously, not a great season for them, but it's a test for us. Obviously, we are ahead of them in the Super League. They are chasing us. We beat them on Saturday, could end their playoff dreams, and that's how important it is. That's how crucial this game is for both sides.
It's massive. It's probably our biggest, most pivotal game of the season. I know you can't get to this point by losing other games. That's not how it works. But this is huge. If we can go 6 points clear of them with 6 games to go or whatever it is, we've got 2 more at home after that in Catalan and Huddersfield, which are both fairly winnable. I know we've got a lot of away games, but hopefully we can do the business before then. I think we're probably 2 wins away from being up there. I've looked at Leeds fixtures. They've got some real tough fixtures coming up as well. They've got a lot of the big boys who all need to win to stay in their position. I think they've got Warrington, Wigan, Saints. There's a lot of fighting to be done there. They've crept up. They've certainly improved in the last few weeks, Leeds. But I watched them against Huddersfield the other night. And they battered us. Huddersfield were awful. They were worse than they were against us, and they weren't great against us. They did get the bounce of the ball. They did get a few decisions in their favour. I don't think Huddersfield would have got going the other way. So I am worried that we may be facing a 14th man before the game starts in that way that, I don't know. It's hard not to sometimes. When you watch games and you think that something doesn't sit right there with me, that's not right. I think the RFL would love Leeds to be in the top 6. But anyway, going off that, it's our job to stop them. It's our job to end their playoffs if we can. I mean, that would be, after what they did to us in the last season by coming in and pilfering our players and then coming and getting our chief exec or whatever. And, it'd be nice to sort of repay the favour. So you spent a lot of money on an awful lot there, didn't you? Well done. It's going to be massive. I think both teams will be really up for this. Really up for it. I think it'll be a real cracker, fireball. If both, if we end up with 13 aside at the end of the game, I'll be amazed. I really will. I think it's going to be that much passion and fire. Discipline's going to be the key. But I think we can. I think overall, I think we're a better team. I really do. I look through the Leeds team, and I think there's probably 2 or 3 players you might go, yeah, I'd take you. But generally looking through them, I don't think they're that good. I think they've got a lot of faults, and one of them appears to be to me that they don't seem fit. I say that, they might go and beat us in the last minute this week, but I watched them against Hull KR the week before, and they dominated for much of the game. The last 10 minutes, Hull KR had them out on the feet. Leeds were chasing shadows a lot of the time and end up losing the game. I think they put a lot in. I think they'll do the same this week, but it is a massive, massive battle. Massive. If we lose, it's not all over for us. That's the thing. The pressure is on them to go and win. We have got a cushion of 4 points at the moment. It will drop to 2, but we have got a couple more home games to come. Other winnable games. There's no saying we won't go to Saints and win again, the way they're playing at the moment. We've got Hull away who, yeah, they've improved, but they're still not a great side. You don't know what's going to happen in the next few weeks. So I think the pressure's on Leeds. I really do. But I would absolutely, in the words of Kevin Keegan, I'd love it if we beat them. I'd love it.
Yeah. Big pressure game, like you say, opportunity to put a stamp on it. It's all about messaging for me. If you can beat Leeds, whether they're struggling or not, that sends a message to the people outside our bubble that Soldiers beat Leeds at home. So that'll help our profile in the community in the city. Like you say, there's the gap. we don't want for that gap to close, because that's how pressure builds in it, because you can see them coming in your rear view mirror, and they are Leeds, so they have history on the side and things like that. So hoping obviously for another great performance like this week, another, when the going gets tough, we step up and we make a difference, and that's the Rowley way. You don't have to go and blow teams out of the water playing, fantastic rugby. Sometimes you have to roll your sleeves up and grind a result out, and that's what might have to happen on Saturday.
Well, the thing for me, and say it every week, but this team don't fear anyone. That we believe, and so we should, that we're a good team. We are a top 6 team. What are we worried about? We're at home. We're the good team. They're outside the top 6. They're not, clearly by results alone this season. They're not as good as us. It's that. So we should have beaten them at their place, to be honest. I think got a couple of ropey ones there as well, didn't we? But it was, if that had finished a draw, no one would have complained. We've and as the season's gone on, we've got better. We've had a couple of blips, but generally, I think we're a good team. I know we beat Saints and it wasn't a great. That Saints team has proven not to be as good, but we beat them on a decent. They weren't as bad as they are now. Then we beat them Warrington home and away. We're a good team. Let's not. I don't even know why we're worried at the moment. I genuinely don't. We go out on Saturday and win that game. I think we can start planning for the playoffs. I really do. And I know it sounds arrogant and it's not a Salford way. We're never like that. We're always panicking till the very last second. That's what we do. But like I've said, us as fans need to get into our heads. We're a good team. What are we worried about? Wigan wouldn't be worried about playing Leeds this week. Warrington wouldn't be. Even maybe Saints in the form there would go, well, we're at home. We should be beating these. We should be beating them. We're a good team. We've got some very, very talented players. Now we've got Timmy Laffey and Nene back. We came through last week without any injuries as far as I'm aware. We didn't get any bans. Leeds didn't. Don't know how. Different story. We'll go back to the RFL. But why can't we go and beat them? Why don't we end their playoffs and make ours comfortable? And then Paul Rowleys can look at his squad and go, right, I need to give you some time off. So in the last, I think 3 of the last 4 games, I think we go up to Humberside twice. Rest of it, if we can. We played Wigan away last game of the season. Wigan might have had the league wrapped up then. They might not. They might need a win. They might not. Who knows? But we could go there and go, doesn't really matter. We don't want to lose, but let's give the players, let's rotate the squad a little bit, throw a few more in. Let's give Nathan Connell a run out. That's the position that Paul Rowley would love to be in, I think. Give his players a bit of time off. And this is the week where that could happen.
We'll have to wait and see. Exciting game, exciting times. Prediction time, Parker. I'm going first this time. So, Salford will start like they did last week and turn Leeds over, I reckon. Like you say, big game. Send a message. Salford 40, Leeds 6.
Wow.
There's your message. Loud and clear.
That is a message. Sorry, I'm just trying to say. I think I did my predictions, and I don't know what I've done with them. Anyway, so I'll just bluff it. What before I do go, can you explain to me why Sam Lasoni didn't get a ban? By the way, can we discuss that? Is that?
I think I've seen it.
Raise an elbow going into a tackle, whether he made contact with someone's head or not. Did he not raise an elbow going into a tackle? There was intent.
Yeah. It's funny old world rugby league when it comes to collisions. Early in the season, we were going mad because it were going a bit OTT about it. We've all settled down a bit, and he misses one maybe or lets one go, and suddenly everyone's on the feet again. I wanted more stricter rules. I want the game to flow. I don't want players to be sent off and sin binned, which might stop a good game.
I think you got to protect players. That's what we're trying to do. That was it. That was reckless. If Brad Singleton does that this week against Leeds, I will guarantee you we won't see him for about 4 weeks after it. That's it. That's how it is. I think there's been an outcry. The only people who seem to back it are the Leeds fans, which obviously. I don't want to see that. I didn't want to see it at the start of the season. We were saying on it was a joke, some of the red cards that were going on. The rules slackened not for that. That's not part of anything else. There's no need for him to be doing that. And what saved him was it Russell, the Huddersfield player, getting back to his feet instantly. If he'd have stayed down and gone off with an HIA, might have been a bit different. But because he was so honest, he cost his team a man because Leeds could have been down a man, or should have been red carded or what. Just strange one. Anyway, moving on. Predictions. Yeah,
as I said, parking before. Rugby players mad as cheese, just jump straight back up.
Yeah, fair play to him. Absolutely, nothing but respect for the lad, none whatsoever. Hard as nails. Yeah, I think we'll edge it. I think it'll be close because that's the way we are. That's the way we play. That's what we do. We don't make anything easy. I think a few things will go against us, but I think we've got the strength of character now to pull through. And I'm going to say 12 for 22, Leeds 18.
18. Close one.
I
2 points is 2 points.
And that's
whether we smash them by 34 or win by 6.
And that's all that matters. That's all that matters now. I know we're going. I mean, on Sunday it was going about with Cass scored again. I was like, no, we need the points difference. It might keep us in or out of the playoffs. We can make Leeds irrelevant. The points difference becomes irrelevant. I don't care if we finish 5th, 6th, 4th, whatever, with a minus deficit, as long as we're in the playoffs. I mean, look at Lee. Their points difference is plus 90 odd, and yet they're not in the. It doesn't really make a difference in that way. It only make a difference if it comes close. If we lose on Saturday, then that becomes an issue. If we win on Saturday, shouldn't be an issue for the rest of the season.
Yeah. So that's the end of this week's podcast. Another great show. Didn't do one last week, so we had lots to talk about. Different games, all the big news. I want to say a big thanks to all the Coffee Reds who have donated this week to help us fund the programs that we used for this podcast. Without you, tonight it'd just be 2 lads, a laptop and some bad sound. So big thanks for that, Parker.
Yeah, absolutely. And again on Saturday, sorry I've forgotten your first name, sir, but I know your surname's Warrington because we had a bit of a laugh about that. Sat in front of us at the game, and he said that he listens, and it blows me away when people just tell us to listen. Never mind people contribute financially. I mean, this is, I don't know. You get lost in it, don't you? It's crazy. When people say to you, "Oh, I like the podcast, like what you lads do," and all that, you think, "Wow." I sit here for a couple of hours chatting to you, and I don't know if anyone's going to listen or not. And clearly they are, and it blows me away. It really does. You do get a little bit of a buzz. You do, and I'm not going Billy Bighead. I just, we sit here and we talk rugby for an hour or whatever. It's brilliant. I'd do it in the pub. I'd do it, do it here if anyone had listened to me. But even the dog walks out the room. So, brilliant. And to those who do contribute financially, the microphone, we've got the stand, and everything else, and where we're going in the next few weeks, I think as well is it's going to make a big difference. So yeah, absolutely. And I can't thank people enough for contributing, but also for just listening.
Yeah, and obviously, like you say, the last 10 years, the growth, the engagement, we can't thank you enough for that. Obviously, when we first started this podcast, you never dreamt about the size it's grown into, and the things that we've done, not just the sort of talking bit on the actual sort of the podcast, the match reports that Paul do, the Parker's picks that you do, interviewing people in America, the Copheads, head coach Colin Odell, they're celebrating winning their championship this weekend, beat the Axemen 38-18 or 30-18 it was. Very good game. We've put it on our socials if you haven't watched it. They're buzzing. Obviously, a week off this week, then they play it in like a kind of semi-final, grand final next week. So that's going to be exciting for them, Park here. And just another fun fact, since we've been speaking to Colin Odell in America, our listenership has gone up 10% in America.
That's phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. And thank you for those guys for listening. And a little side note on the Copheads there, the Axemen. I think is their partner club Leeds.
Yeah.
Copperheads are beaten this weekend. Maybe it was a bit of an omen. Who knows? Let's hope so. But yeah, I watched most of the Copperheads game via Instagram. Brilliant, great result for them. I love all the work they're doing. And I'm trying to get my hand on some merchandise. It's not as easy, obviously, the operation the way it works, but yeah, brilliant. Congratulations to them. It's two clubs that are going in the right direction, it appears.
Yeah. So don't forget, tune into the next pop up where I talk to Colin O'Dell about the win, and looking forward to the next playoff encounter. So big thanks for joining us on this podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devil in the Detail SRD. You can find us on X at DITDSRD, and you find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. So big thanks for joining us. Good luck, Reds. We'll see you on the other side.